And it's Amber Queenie Mailani Benici, and welcome to our session today, Reawaken Your Dream. I'm just going to be a couple more minutes just to let people come on in. So once you come in, go ahead and announce yourself. Aloha, come on in. We're just waiting a few minutes for everyone to gather, but make yourself comfortable. I've got myself a cup of tea. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Don't be shy. And when I get the rest of this stuff together, I want to, for those of you who are just joining, make sure that you have the supplies that you need. There are two different ways to go. The way I'm going to teach you, we're going to be using watercolor paper. We're going to be using some paint, and so have some paint and paint brushes. Any kind of paint's fine. Have a jar of water or a spray bottle, some yarn or thread, and some scissors. Ta-da! And I think that's it for now. Welcome. If you guys can see, there's a chat button over on your right side. Aloha! I know, right? I love it. So say aloha, say where you're from, who you are, and welcome. So a couple of housekeeping things. One, I want to make sure you can hear me. If you can just say, yes, we can hear you, that'd be great. Another thing I want to let you know is this is Google Hangouts. So if you are new to Google Hangouts, at the very top of the screen, if you take your mouse up to the top, you're going to see, it looks like bars going up, and that is what you can adjust for your bandwidth. If the video starts to get choppy or something, that way you can adjust it for what you have on your settings. And we're also be recording, so don't worry if things start to get crazy, then you can watch the recording later. But I always love to do things in person. All right, there's also a delay. So, for example, if you type into the chat, there's about a 60 to 90 second delay. So just be aware of that if I don't get back to you right away, that I am paying attention. Awesome. See, I just heard, yes, we can hear you. See? Yay! That's awesome. So as you can tell, there's a delay. So just being aware of that. If you ask something, it might take me a little bit to get back to you. And make sure that you have all your supplies. The first thing I want to do, I have tea here because it's the afternoon and I just would like a yummy cup of tea. And I also have a chocolate brownie. It's really yummy. So you all let me know if I have like brownie over my teeth, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Reawaken Your Dream Creativity session. And this session is really all about helping you reawaken your dreams, access your inner wisdom, and then get clear about your next steps. So I already went over supplies, but if you don't have watercolor paper and things, you can actually just use a plain piece of paper with crayons and pencils and do the same type of thing. Yeah, super easy. So I'm going to just start off and just share a little bit about me, just to get going. Most of you know me, but if you don't, you might want to know, who is this person and why should we be listening to her? So my name's Amber Queenie Mailani Benici. I am an award-winning and internationally collected artist. I'm an entrepreneur, a teacher, and a healer. I've led workshops and retreats for hundreds of women all over the world, and I hosted the Radiant Mama Telesummit, where we gathered with thousands of women in over 72 countries to discuss how to find your passion and purpose again as a mother. I've been certified in many different things, everything from intentional creativity coaching and teacher training to being a black belt Nia instructor in mind-body movement. I've been most recently been working with one-on-one with women, doing mentoring with them to help them step into their passion and their purpose. And I'm just now starting to birth something new, a group program, and so that's the latest thing that I'm moving towards. My purpose, has always been about women. And right now it's about helping women going through transition. So it could be women who were moms and they're kind of now going, whoa, I want to do something for me. Or they might be someone who's going through a midlife crisis and they're like, what am I supposed to do? Or last week I talked to a few women actually who are in their 50s and 60s who are at this point in their life where they're like, wow, I have a certain number of years left on the planet and I really want to make sure that I am doing what I'm meant to be doing. So I've helped all sorts of different women. I love working with women and really helping them step into their power. So right now I'm all about helping women reawakening the parts of themselves that have fallen asleep. It wasn't always this way, I have to tell you. There was a whole period of my life when I was like, if I just knew what I was supposed to do, I would do it. But I was in this angst of like, I don't know what to do, and what if I choose this one thing and it's the wrong thing, and I've committed to it for the rest of my life, and I went through a period of that. But for me, what it's been is one step at a time, one little thing that started moving me in a different direction. One little aha moment. It wasn't like a big aha, like stars and electric lights, and all of a sudden I knew what I was supposed to do. It wasn't like that at all. It was more of a gentle tugging of my heart, like a little like, oh, this feels good, and I'd move in that direction. There have been several times in my life when I knew things were off. One was when I was managing a retail store and running up the corporate ladder, and when I slowed down I could feel like something was off, but I didn't really give myself much chance to do that because it kind of felt a little bit like, I don't know if I really want to go there. But I finally did go there when I miscarried my first child, and it forced me to stop, and it forced me to see that what I was really doing was I was really wanting people to see me and to see that I wanted to feel important, and I wanted to feel successful, and I wanted money. So that was like a big wake-up call for me, and I'm like, okay, what's really important? And so things shifted for me at that point. Another time this happened was when I had my kids, and they were both small, young babies, and I was in the survival place. If any of you have kids, you know that space when we're just trying to survive. It's not about any grand dreams or anything. And I remember just waking up and going to sleep and just being so happy just to make it through the end of the day. And I remember feeling like a piece of me was slowly like just dying, and I knew I had to do something to tap into that space. And so I did, even though it felt a bit selfish at first to do that. I did it. So first thing I'm wondering is, can you relate to any of these stories? I want you right now just to, with me, take a deep breath and land here with me. And I want you to stop and close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And I want you to ask yourself, what way are you not living in alignment? What area of your life do you feel like you've left behind? So you can open your eyes. And I know that might bring up something for you. I know that when I first started looking at the pieces of myself that I'd left behind, there was a lot of grief that just to take the time to ask that question. It made me so happy to tune into my heart, and also at the same time sad, because there were parts of myself that I kind of cut out. But today is all about changing the trajectory. So what we're going to do today, this might seem like a really small step, and you're like, okay, that's just a small thing. But what I love about this is it's like we're changing the trajectory right here. And right here, it might seem like from here to here might not seem like that much. But then the farther and farther we go away from that, the bigger and bigger it gets. So right now, this one step might not seem like much, but it can affect you much farther on. I think about my sons. They go to a Hawaiian charter school, and we went on a huaka'i, a field trip to a old style canoe. And they talked about navigating and using the stars and things. And if they were off just by a little bit, they would end up like hundreds of miles, in the wrong space. So I want you to think about the same thing, though, moving in a different trajectory, that this is going to move you in many different miles. So I want you to stay open to that and see what happens. I want to just give you a couple examples of how little trajectory things can make big thing happen. So, for example, first of all was when I learned how to paint. I didn't know how to paint, but just 4.5 years ago I learned how to paint, and now my work is collected and around the world, and it's in galleries, and it's pretty amazing, right? And that started with me picking up a paintbrush after not doing it since 2nd grade. Or, for example, when I was looking at this feeling like I missed community and I missed women, and I wanted to have relationships with girlfriends, and I wanted to have connection. And so I remember when I started my first women's circle, and my first little baby step was I had a women's circle, and I had like 3 people show up, and it was great. It was like the 3 people, and I remember being really inspired, but also like, oh my gosh, there are only 3 people that showed up. And then, now I've led, hundreds of women in retreats and circles, so, noticing that. Or, for example, when I first started working one-on-one with people, it was, I remember my first person was like, oh, would you teach me how to paint? I'm like, oh, okay, hadn't done that before. I'll figure it out. And, now I'm working and doing private, work with people from all over the world, teaching them painting and how to creatively tune into their lives. So I just want you to see that, like, little things, it snowballs into really big things. So I want you to stay as much as possible open to the voice of your spirit, and to listen to any tugs that you get during our time together. I want you to let yourself shift, like even if it's just a millimeter. So I'm just going to check really quick on our chat and see if there's any questions before we start off. You can go ahead and type in, say anything. Good seeing everybody. Hello, hello. I love seeing everyone here. Welcome. It's so funny, I'm noticing that some of you guys I can actually see attendees, and some of you are like ghost attendees where I'll see you guys put in a chat, and it's like, wow, and then I can't find you. Just random information. So, all right. Are you guys ready to get started? I'm ready. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into a visioning. Now, I use visioning in all the trainings I do, anytime I work with someone, because visioning accesses parts of our brain that we don't normally have access to. There's this conscious level, this conscious layer of where we're at and what we're aware of, and then beneath that is like all this other information. So kind of, I like to think of it as an iceberg, right? The very tip of the top, tip, 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 is the information we know, and then beneath it is the subconscious. And so when we do visioning, we access that information to help change. It's awesome. So the thing about the visioning that we do is it's, I would say, part imagination, visioning, part journeying, and that when I lead you in this visioning, I don't want you to make stuff up in your head and to like let consciously make it up. I want you to see what arises up. This is a great time and a way for you to let go, for you to trust that there's information that's available to you and that you don't have to make it happen. You don't have to control it. That's a good one for us, control. So if you are not a visual person, because sometimes I've had people who are not visual people, I want you to use your other senses. So I want you to listen. I want you to feel with your body, smell, notice textures, things like that. So are you ready to dive in? Let's start by, I'm going to light us a candle. All right. Here we are in sacred circle. Smells really good. Some sort of smelly candle my husband got me for Mother's Day. Beautiful. Thank you, Tony. Okay. So I want you first to just close your eyes and get comfortable in your chair, however you're sitting, or if you're in your bed, wherever you're at, just get comfy. And we're going to relax. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and release out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Last time. I want you first to sense your feet. Wiggle your toes and sense, are they in shoes? Are they on the ground? Just bring your attention to your feet. How can you adjust and move your feet to bring more pleasure in a way that feels good for your body right now? Moving up your legs, make any small adjustments you need to. Moving into your buttocks, resting, and letting go of any tension. Moving up through your chest, into your shoulders, releasing your shoulders away from your ears. Letting your jaw loosen, letting your eyes sink into your sockets. Relaxing and letting go. And I want you to imagine inside your head a person in there. And I'm talking about a person who likes to keep you safe and likes to keep you doing what you normally do. This is the voice that tells you maybe you don't know how to do that, or who are you to think you can do this, or that doesn't look right, or that inner critic, that voice, and I want you to imagine a person in there with that voice. And I want you to imagine shrinking that person smaller and smaller and smaller until they're a little speck. And you can still hear them, but they're talking. A little squeaky voice like a mouse. You can barely hear them. Because we're going to let go of the left brain and we're going to dive fully into the right brain, into creativity and possibility. I want you to inhale. And each inhale, I want you to imagine your heart filling with golden light, radiating out. Inhaling more, expanding more, until you've totally filled up your chair. You filled up your room. You filled up your home, wherever you're at. Expand even more, filling up the block, the neighborhood, the town. You're glowing. And imagine that you can turn yourself into anything you want. And right now, you're going to turn yourself into an eagle. And so you launch yourself up into the air and you fly into the sky, feeling the wind on your wings, on your beak, listening to the feathers rippling in the wind, letting yourself soar. Soaring on the wind. And from up here, high above, you look back down and you have magical eagle vision, where you can actually look down and see your life below you. And your eagle vision doesn't just stop at where you're at. You can see where you've been, and you have a hint at where you're going. You can see the people you interact with, your job, your finances, any troubles or worries you have, your dreams, your visions, those moments of joy and happiness. And I want you to soar and take a look around. What is working in your life right now? What's not working? What part of yourself do you need to reawaken? It could be a dream. It could be your connection to your intuition. It could be your sense of creativity. It could be your sense of fun. What part are you ready to reclaim? Are you ready to bring back? Are you ready to embrace again? I want you to, with your eagle vision, fly ahead a little and look into the future I want you to imagine yourself just even a year from now in your highest vision. Who are your friends? Where are you living? Who do you share your heart with? How are you living your soul purpose? What brings you joy? How do you feel right now living your vision, living in alignment, living your heart's calling? I want you to feel this place, not just see it, but I want you to feel it. How does it feel in your body? When you're ready, opening your eyes. We're going to paint in that delicious space today. So let's go ahead and grab a piece of watercolor paper. I don't know if you could hear that. That was my son's dinosaur game. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is saying hello. Okay, so let's come here. I'm going to turn this down so you can see what we're doing. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to put your hands on this paper. And I want you to bless this paper. That what we're creating today isn't just something to make something pretty, but it's to create something that will make a change in your life. So thank this paper and bless this paper. And our intention here is to reawaken to your dreams, to tune into your intuition, and to set your next steps. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab, I'm going to show you my palette. This is actually a Huggies wipes box. And I was shown this by my painting mentor's mentor. What is she? I guess she'd be my painting grandma, Sue Hoya Sellers, who's a master painter. And what you do is whatever paint is in here, before you're finished, you can spray it with water and close it up, and it will keep it wet for days. So that's a great way to save paint. Just a little artist tip for my beauties there. So let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to unravel myself. I've got a scarf on and all sorts of things, so get comfortable. So the first thing I want you to do is this is going to be a dream catcher, is what we're creating. And not a dream catcher in the sense of, your sleeping dreams, but this is a dream catcher to catch your waking dreams. Haha! Isn't this awesome? So the first thing I want you to do is to go ahead and choose any color that feels right for you. And this color is going to represent the space that you hold in this world, the container that holds you and your dream. So for you, it might be your connection to spirit or God. It might be just this knowledge of your purpose, your dharma. And so, interesting. Whatever color calls to you. So I'm not using very much paint. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a brush and dip it in my water container. Dip it into my paint. And we're going to do a circle. Okay? When we create a circle, I want you to leave at the bottom of your paper. Make sure you leave space. Okay? We're going to use that. So, doing a circle and letting go as much as you can of that little voice. Remember the little voice we banished into quietness. And to be in the place of play and joy. So as you're painting this, imagining, here you are, your space in the world. What you have to offer is important. Who you are is important. Being 100% yourself is important. Honoring all the parts of yourself is important. So here's my circle, my container. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose two colors that when I think about my vision, connect me there. They could be any colors. But I want you to close your eyes and go back to that space in your vision. And what colors do you feel drawn towards? So you can either take another brush and do the same thing using wet on wet, or you can take a spray bottle, spray the page, and then just have fun. I want you to connect to your dream. You're not really creating any form right here. It's more about staying in the feeling of your vision. You can play with brush strokes. So I'm choosing two colors here. You can use your spray bottle to blend it some. And if you have a paper towel, you can use it to wipe too. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box. Actually, the second time in a row, I'd forgotten that I was going to use paper to dry this off, so I had to go get toilet paper. You know, whatever works. Once you've dried off, you can go ahead and do another layer of paint if you want, or if there's another color that you want to add at this point once it's dry, you can go ahead and do that. I want you, as much as you can, to stay involved in the place of openness, of possibility. I want you, when you look at this, to imagine and remember that feeling you have. So the next step is going to be to take a smaller brush. I have something small like this, or you can use a pen or pencils, whatever you want, and to create a design around your outer edge, your container. So you can close your eyes and tune in and let your intuition guide you. I want you to trust that whatever you put on the paper is going to be just what you're supposed to put on the paper. what is there that will help you remind you that you have a space in the world? And then you can go ahead and paint whatever you want. You can paint words around it if you want, or design. Remember the reason why we're doing this. That it's not about getting something right or getting something beautiful, matching colors, any of that. I want you to remember when you're doing this right here that you're fully supported. But you may not know it, but there's a gift that you have. That when you are fully yourself and your awesomeness, that no one else can touch you. No one else can compare. And there's a gift in just being yourself. That you don't have to do anything more than be you. All right, how you guys doing? How are you doing with your thing? How's it coming along? Your dream catcher. That's what mine looks like so far. I use metallic paints because I love embellishment. But any paint or color will work. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. If you're not done, that's fine. I'm just going to show you, and then you can continue along at your own pace. I'll turn this back down so you can see. Okay, so here we are with our awake dream catcher. Now the next step is going to be painting in the design in the center. You can use any color that you want. But what I want you to do, and it doesn't actually have to make, the design doesn't have to make much sense, but what I want you to do is when you're painting each line, is I want you to sense that each line is a connection. Each line is a person or a seen or unseen who is helping you along your path, who is helping you in your dream and your vision. I want you to know that you're not here alone, that there are people around you and that there's support to help you step into and be all of who you are. So I'm going to take this color, spoke to me today, this moment, and you can do any designs right here in the middle, anything you'd like. You can do straight lines, you can do curved lines. Imagining each one of these is a connection. Each one of these is here to help you. Again, it's not about getting it right. It's about you feeling this right here is another connection. How much support do you have all around you? Maybe you're just one conversation away from what you want. Maybe you're just one connection away. Maybe what you want is already there and you just haven't seen it yet. You haven't opened your eyes to the possibility. You haven't said, how can I do this? You've been in the place of I can't. Something so meditative about this. Isn't this wonderful? Who else is loving this besides me? And when you feel complete, whenever that is, just take a moment and look at all the connections, all the ways you're supported, the web of support. And then if there's any other places that you want to fill in or add to, you can go ahead and do that. You can color this part if you want. You can go back in the center, remembering that this is about being in the feeling of whatever you're painting. So on the outside, imagining my support around me. And I'm inside, imagining my dream and my vision and how I feel about it. I'm painting the lines, I'm sensing all the support that's there all around me. So as you're painting, what's coming up for you? When you look at these lines and support, all that's around you, what do you notice? I'd love for you to share any insights so far in the chat. If you don't want to share them publicly, you can share them. There's a way that you can share the chat and do it to a private function just to chat with me. But be sure and turn that back off again or you'll stay private. You'll be so private. So next step, I'm going to dry this a little bit. It's a professional way to dry your paintings. Oh, not so much, huh? I splattered paint. Ha ha ha. I wonder where I got that. Throwing paint all over. Okay. So next step is to take some scissors and to cut around your dream catcher. Cutting out your circle. Aha, mine has more of an egg shape. Works for me. That's what I got so far. So next step is I'm going to want you to cut this into seven little strips. So I'm taking this paper, chopping it like this first, and then getting into little things. So 1, 2, I'm going to let you guys catch up a little bit. And I just wanted to mention that it's starting to get a little bit dark here, so I'm getting more of my lighting, but I just wanted to mention that if you are enjoying what we're doing, and if you want to continue, or if you think that you might be interested in finding out more about the group program that we're doing starting in June, go ahead and I'm going to have a button pop up on your right, and let's just go ahead and talk. See if it's a fit for you. What I'm loving about this program is it's a way for me to work with people more than one-on-one, and we're getting a really cool group of women who are tuning in and who are wanting to reawaken parts of themselves that they've left behind. So that's our focus for a whole 6 months. We are looking at the parts we've left behind and integrating them back into our lives. And we're using all sorts of really fun things, fun techniques, like the process we're doing right now. I think that self-development doesn't have to be hard or difficult, that there are ways to do it that are really powerful and really fun. So we're going to be doing that in the 6 months. We're going to be doing it online, so you can participate from anywhere in the world, and I'll be recording sessions so you can access them at any time. So if you're on vacation during the summer, or if you got something coming up, you can do it anyhow. So if you're interested, go ahead and click the link on the side, and I'd love to talk to you. If you're feeling a heart tug at all, that is your heart saying, hello, let's do it. Ta-da! Ta-da! Let's chat. Yeah, no pressure. If we hop on the phone, I'll let you know and we'll figure out if you're fit. And if you're not, then I'm going to leave you with your next steps, what you can do without me, or I'll recommend someone else that you can work with too. So I just want to get you moving in the right direction. So let's move on. Next step is this right here. You've got your things, darlings. So we're going to go ahead and then move into the part where we look at our actions. So I want you to close your eyes and go back to that space. And I want you to put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what is one thing I can do right now to move me towards that vision? And whatever comes up, write it down. This isn't coming from your head, this is coming from your heart. As much as you can, make it something that you'll say, oh yeah, I've done it. That it's not too vague. If you can't think of them all, or if it's not coming to you, that's fine. You can leave the other ones blank. And what I'm going to have us do is we're going to now attach these. So if you have yarn or thread or string, take your string, cut off a little section. Now, some of you might be tempted to use a hole punch, which you can, but hey, might as well let your inner perfectionist have a little training session. Let her go a little bit. So I'm going to take a pen. I'm going to jab a puka. And here. Ta-da! Puka. Puka, it means a hole in Hawaiian. So a little aloha for you. And I'm going to do 7 pukas for my 7 whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six, 7. And you do the same thing on here. Jab a little. Put the thread through. Ta-da. And go ahead and do that for all of them. As you're tying these on, I want you to think about each thing that's come up, or that's going to come up, and think about each one of these as a little shift in your trajectory. Each one of these. And think about if you start adding these up, if you start doing each one of these things, how would your life change? So one thing I recommend for everyone that I work with or anyone I ever talk to, if they don't end up working with me, is to have some sort of support. That there's only so much we can do on our own, frankly. I want you to think about, I've used this before, but it's such a good analogy, I have to use it again. I want you to think about like a workout. If you've ever done like a yoga video, and you know how much you do and how long are you doing downward dog until you're like, all right, I give up, I'm tired, right? And then I want you to think about taking a yoga class in person and how being in a group of other people kind of makes you go like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and you just go a little bit longer. That is the power of working in a group. That is the power of support and community. And so I really want you to, if you have a dream or something you're working towards, that you have someone who is there supporting you to step into that. You know, our friends and family might know us in one way, and it might be scary for them when we start to change and move into something else. So it's you really got to have someone who's not just supporting you, but someone who, you know, is going to call you out on your stuff if you're not doing it. If you are, you know, if you come to them whiny about something, you know, that they're saying, pull yourself together, come on, you can do this, and instead of listening to the drama. Okay, so here we go. This is what I've got so far. I want you to do the same thing at the top. Go ahead and make a puka at the top, and you're going to have a string to hang it. So my point is find someone like that in your life. And if you don't have someone like that in your life, create someone like that in your life. And if that's really important to you, then look at maybe joining us in our group program. We all need support into our greatness, into our awesomeness. So then once you have that done, I want you to, you can go ahead and paint these other little pieces. And it could be something really, you know, loose. It doesn't have to be beautiful and magical, more just getting some paint on there. And da, 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 da. Anyone else out there a hummer? My mother was a hummer. She hummed a lot. And when she passed, I was told by all sorts of people, oh, you're just like your mother, you hum. I love it. Things that have been passed on to me from my mom. Little known fact, we used to raise llamas too, and llamas hum also when they're content. It's really cute to listen to moms and baby llamas hum. They hum and then hum. So I have a few of these that are blank that what I'm going to do is these are opportunities to wait and to tune in and to see when, my heart and my spirit is talking to me, and then putting that in there. Ta-da! Awesome sauce. Okay. So, how are you doing? Let me know how you're doing over there. Here we are. My dream catcher. Catching my dreams and helping me turn my dreams into reality. So, this is what I want you to do. I don't want this to be something that you do and then you're like, okay, and you go back into your daily life, right? This is all about changing that trajectory and shifting things. So I want you to hang this somewhere that you see it. So maybe it's in your bathroom, by your mirror. It could be in your office. It could be next to your computer. It could be where you do the dishes in the kitchen. I want it to be someplace that you see it. Then, when you complete one of the things on the bottom, one of the action steps, it's really important to celebrate your success. That it's not like, oh, okay, I did it, and you go move on to the next thing. We do that so often. It's like we complete something and then we go straight to the next thing instead of celebrating our successes. So part of celebrating your successes is to snip it off and snip it off and then keep it. So you can either keep it in, I'll tell you what I recommend. I hope you guys have had a chance to watch the smash booking process. If you haven't had a chance to do that, email me at amberdivadawn@gmail.com. That's Amber, A-M-B-E-R, diva, like I'm a diva, D-I-V-A, dawn, like the rising of the dawn, D-A-W-N, @gmail.com, and I'll send you a replay to that. This is what I want you to do. And you might not have done this during the smash book process, so you could always watch it again and do this. Is I want you to create a smash book for your successes, your success smash book. And in this smash book, I want you to put things that you do that you're so proud of, things that make you feel really good. Like I said I was going to do it, and I did it. So it could be anything from snipping this out and putting it inside, to a card that someone writes for you, to a certificate that you got, so you can put pictures in there of yourselves. You can do newspaper clippings. You can do, the sky's the limit on it, really. You can do anything. But what I love about this is that it's a book so that whenever, we all have those moments when we doubt ourselves and we're like, what am I doing and why am I doing this? And no one cares. And yeah, we all have those moments. And so to counteract those moments, to remind yourself of your awesomeness, is to have a success smash book. Remind yourself of your successes. Remind yourself of the time when you said you were going to do something and you didn't believe you could do it and you did it. Sometimes that little teeny voice in our head that we made a little mouse turns into a ginormous, crazy monster, and it puts us into like comatose. So let's make a shift with that, okay? If you don't have a smash book and that's not something you're interested in, you can always snip it off, put it on your altar table. If you have one of those, you can put it on like a vision board. They talk about a vision board and a reality board, where you have vision board things that you see that you want, and the reality board is the things that you actually have made happen and manifested. This can be part of that, the manifestation of what you've done. And you could also have a jar of successes, where you just get a jar and you stick your successes in there too, and that's another way for you to collect things and for you to honor and celebrate what you've done. So I would love to hear what you got from this process. You can type it in. I'm going to leave the box open a little bit after we finish. But what I want us to do right now is I want you to go back and to close your eyes again and to go back to that vision place. And I want you to see it. And I want you to imagine that if you started doing these action steps, these minor steps that your heart is calling you towards, these minor small things, how your trajectory would change, how you would move into your vision. I want you to imagine yourself in your vision, not just by yourself, but with support, with other people there cheering you on, loving you for just being you, all of you. And I want you to know that you are perfect just as you are. There's no part of yourself you need to leave behind or let go of. That you're just right now. And so, opening your eyes, I want you to go ahead and, if you can, take a moment and journal some of what you got. And I would love for you to share with me. So be sure and shoot me an email, or you can type in the chat box. But much aloha to you. And I look forward to hearing more about your journey and connecting with some of you in person. Aloha.